the Star Wars.
Hey guys, it's Greg, Danny, and Joe from Ritual Gaming, and we are here with another episode 6 we are on. We're going to be talking about the most recent, what are they calling it? The EA discussion forum kind of thing?
Yeah.
They're the weekly news that they've been releasing, so it's not necessarily a patch, but it's definitely a incredible new upgrade.
It's very exciting stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. So, as you can see here, we're in a bit of a different format. We decided it'd be nice every once in a while to just kind of shoot one together.
Yeah.
And get together. And so the first thing we're going to be talking about is level 80 increase. They're going to raise the level cap for everyone. And I don't know, what was the first thing that came to your mind, Joe?
I'm so poor. I'm
yeah,
going to be so poor.
Exactly.
All this money
The money, the credits just coming down.
It's so, and that was definitely like the first thing that popped into my head was just like, all right, I've got to get my arena team sorted and look at the rest of the notes in this patch to see what arena team's actually going to be able to handle itself in the new meta, and it's going to be a new meta that's coming out. So the first thought was money, and the second thought was, oh wait, don't just spend the money on anyone. Like, really think carefully about where you can put that money.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think, so Joe, I think you were telling us actually that somebody crunched the numbers, and it seems like you're going to have about 2.25 million credits per character that you're going to raise from 70 to 80.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a new player, then you've got an even huger credit gap to cover, which is like 5 million credits.
It's in that region, yeah. Bear in mind, if you are a new player and you're only at level 20, you're going to be getting those credits. You're going to be hitting your level cap as you're spending the credits, so it'll be a much more natural progression. Yeah, it's going to be. I think the real people that are going to hurt are the more experienced players, the players playing at the top level, who are going to be like, all right, in this new meta,
the more experienced players that are free to play or semi-free to play.
Yeah. You could also spend the equivalent of $2.5 million US, and you could probably do
whatever you want.
But it's going to be the real tough one is if the result of this new change, we're going to get into it, means that a character that you used to use a lot is no longer so viable.
Then you got to invest.
And you've got to find someone from maybe level 1 or a lower level that you had hanging around the 40s and the 50s that you've got to take up to 80. That's going to cost you 3, 4, maybe more million of those beautiful little credits that I don't have enough of. So start saving now, immediately.
Yeah, because you're going to need... I shouldn't have done this math-wise.
Yeah.
You're
looking at about
11.25 million credits.
Something like that.
For a core squad of 5 guys.
Oh, you did well. That's actually pretty
good.
Did
I nail it?
Oh
my god.
Not only do we love Star Wars, but we're really good at maths.
Yeah. Or for the American viewers, math.
Math.
Yeah.
Only one of them.
Yeah. Let's not get into that now, Joe. Okay, that's not a discussion for this. So what we were thinking about as soon as this came up, obviously this hasn't caught people too much off guard because you seem to, I think we have at least 2 weeks. I don't think they're going to bring it out next week.
I hope at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
No, they've said over the next few weeks. If you look at the EA patch, the next few weeks. So if you start nickel and diming it away right now,
you should be fine.
You can have a healthy 10 million at least. You might not be able to shoot everyone direct to 80.
Get a couple characters up there.
Yeah.
And
another thing to bear in mind is, as you are leveling, don't forget, if you've been playing at 70 for a long time, you may have forgotten that whenever you level, you get energy back. And whenever you get energy back, you can spend it again and get some more money.
Yeah, totally forgot about that.
So, that hasn't happened to me in weeks. But, I think it's not going to be as bad as you might think, but prepping for it is going to be important.
Yeah, it's going to make it a lot better.
Upgrade mats for abilities.
Yeah, those will be interesting to see what happens.
And there are a lot of characters who I think will benefit the quickest, right? Like you've got like guys like Qui-Gon Jinn. I think one of his items is 73 or something like that.
Yeah,
and then he's going to go to Gear 9. So if you really want to be prepped, you can start getting those items ready. So once you hit 73 within the first couple days of level cap rise, then you can already have that item there. You can take them to Gear 9. I mean, guys like Genosian Soldier, I think the one item that he's missing to go to gear level 9...
I've already got it.
Do you? But it's like level 79 or something that he gets it. So that's that's something you don't have
There's
to
a
worry
lot
about
of
as
characters
much.
that just have that one little gap.
Yeah. Now, what I was thinking is, what do you guys think for arena team wise? What is going to kind of from the level 70 to 80 as everyone's kind of rushing to level quickly? Who's going to do well there?
Well, I think a lot of it's going to depend on, because at the same time as you trying to do this leveling, the actual changes to balance and stat balance will already be in effect.
Yes.
So you should be choosing carefully. So perhaps we should really talk about the actual stat changes first, because
that's a good point.
That's going to affect very much who you decide to take up to, who you decide to take up to 70, because if you just take the team that you really like right now and take them up to 80, you might get there and go,
having a dice roll.
A dice roll.
Yeah.
Whereas if you know about these changes beforehand and you can strategically choose, like, oh, maybe such and such a character actually under the new balance will maybe not be so good.
Yeah.
You might already start thinking about the replacement for them and want to take them up.
Yeah. And obviously there are a lot of new balances that will come out, so this, I mean, it's going to change everything, right? So the next thing then from 70 to 80 would be they're obviously releasing new campaigns. So I know this sounds kind of obvious, but I was thinking, of course, everyone knows if you watch the episodes that we're big fans of droids. So obviously I was going to take my droid team as quickly as possible to get a max, but you can kind of shoot yourself in the foot there, because if you get an item that you need to have your light side missions completed on, the new light side missions that they're released, then you're going to need a light side team. So, I mean, that original figure of the 11.25 million credits, that actually might be even not enough, because you need to level your light side guys too. I'm going to sneeze.
Oh. No, that's purely just getting from level 70 to 80, ignoring ability, ignoring ways to get abilities. So
and if you need some fancy new hairdryer that you haven't seen before, in order to get such and such a dark side character up, and it's in the light side, you've got to try to somehow grind out the light side team that can actually 3-star that level, so you can sim it. Because otherwise,
you just want to hang out and try to do that level over and over again.
And another thing to think about as well is they're going to be releasing the higher level dailies, which will be dropping new materials you wouldn't have seen before. But you're going to need to get to the level to do those.
Right. Yeah.
So the next tiers, those locked tiers of daily things, the new daily money bounty might actually alleviate some of the pain. Because instead of dropping 90-odd thousand that the current top tier one does, it might drop 100 plus.
120,000 or something?
Maybe something like that,
something like that.
And then, of course, if there's some fancy laptop you don't have any of, or
especially the healer or tank ones, I'm already kind of just barely scraping by on those.
You're not going to be auto-running them at first. So there's so much that's going to change. It's going to, before you even get to the stat balances, that you're going to have to really rethink like how you come at the game. And we say that with a little hint of fear in our eyes, but I think we're all really happy.
I'm just excited. I like the change. So, all right, then let's go on to our next topic. Let's talk about some of the notes that they released in the weekly update and how they're thinking about changing the game. So they said one of their goals in the new changes is to mitigate but not entirely eliminate situations where characters can be killed before they've had a chance to act. Now, if you're familiar with the highest level of the Arena, Galactic War, blah, 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 right now, even not the highest level, but pretty much all of it, it is very much a speed meta. And so I think they're trying to directly address this, right? They've heard a lot of people being frustrated, getting blown out by the first Qui-Gon assist attack and blah, blah, blah. And I totally understand. So they're one of the things that they're introducing is they're introducing a new mechanic called Fortitude, which will be activated at a certain point in character's progression. This will act as another layer of health which needs to be exhausted by opponents before the character starts losing their health. Current healers will not replenish Fortitude. We may add characters and abilities in the future which will act on or around with Fortitude. So they're giving all characters pretty much at least an extra kind of bubble shield, kind of like divine shield, kind of like in Hearthstone kind of idea where you have to get through that before you're really going to hurt them.
And then it can never be recharged. And it only activates, it seems in the wording that they've put, you're going to have to level your guys first to get that. Now, I don't know if that means character level or gear level, because one is much easier to achieve than the other. So
that's a good point.
That'll come in. I guess we'll find out.
That will be interesting too, though, because if they do that, then as you progress in the game, which I think we forget to talk about sometimes because we're always at the max level right now. But as you progress in the game, then arena battles would change, right? Where you're having kind of different things going on, which I think is really cool. You know, just figuring out different puzzles in arena.
Yeah, and that's what is fun about this game, because short of puzzles to solve, it is just clicking buttons again and again and again.
Yeah.
And so adding more puzzles, adding more moving parts is the best way for this game to move forward, if you ask me, because the one thing that, you know, I love this game, I play it a lot, we make a podcast about it, but there are times where I do ask myself, like, what am I doing? You know, like, this is barely, at certain points, it's like, it's barely a game. And then the irony is you go into, like, Galactic War, and you're like, Galactic War takes so long, and I have to think. That's, you know, that's what a game is. So, it's weird, like, all sorts of mixed feelings.
But I think if anything, I like the fact that the meta is changing as quick as it is, because when I first came into the game, it was a different meta, and then it was Qui-Gon. That's the new meta.
It was Phasma and Sid before.
Yeah, there was even Jawa.
And then now it's changing again, and it's a great progression, because I play games where it's just a stagnant meta for 4 or 5 plus months.
Like Hearthstone.
Yes, exactly.
We will be pretty hardcore Hearthstone players, and we all just can't even remember the last time we turned it on.
It took too long to change it.
It took too long to. And you can see in a game that's that big and has a stable base, and we forget sometimes that Star Wars, this game, Galaxy of Heroes, is still very new.
Yeah. 5 months or 6 months.
And when we first started doing this podcast, we said, well, we'll do it bi-weekly, because there's no way we're going to have something to talk about every week.
Yeah, there's not enough info in the game.
And now we don't. And now we found that we don't actually have enough time to fit into like a 40-minute podcast. Everything we want to say. So I'd rather be that than on the other end where you're just waiting.
Well done, creators of this game.
Yeah, well done, creators of the game for just coming out and just boldly changing it like this. Yeah. Just saying.
Well, because then let's look at that now. Yeah. So we're saying speed is the current meta. Who are the guys that are going to take the biggest hit from a change like this? Danny, who do you think? Who are some of the current players in the meta that are really going to get hit by this change?
Yeah, well, I don't know if we've mentioned, but it also stated that anybody who's faster will get a decrease in attack, right?
In attack,
and vice versa. So obviously the slower guys are going to get buffed up a lot. There are things we've actually talked about, like Royal Guard will obviously be a key player in almost most comps that are going to come out soon.
It feels like he'll be really, really good.
He'll be so strong.
Super powerful,
But the guys that I'm thinking about, I'm a little annoyed about, because I almost just got my Dooku to 7 stars. I almost got Qui-Gon Jinn, or I have him to 7 stars now. I have 7-star Genosian, 7-star Sid, and I'm sure lots of people have 7-star Reys and Leias and stuff like that. Those guys are seemingly, it looks like they're going to be taking a pretty big nerf, right? It looks like they're
most likely
they're going to be getting hit.
They are overly effective, and I think that's why. You know.
Well, they're overly effective at doing one thing, and that's killing someone in a single turn.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And they've specifically stated they're moving away from characters not being able to perform any kind of ability. They don't want it to be possible for you to build teams whereby you have a character who never gets to do anything.
So they said defense will now be more significant in battle. Speed will now be important in calibration of a character's damage output. Generally speaking, faster acting characters will see a damage reduction, and slower characters will see an increase of damage.
I think all around, the mid-range characters are going to be the best characters. Which is funny, because they're calibrating the top and the bottom. So obviously the mid-range are going to get just a slight...
Yeah, because you can't make Royal Guard look like a truck, because it will just ruin the entire game. It's going to be those mid-range guys that are really going to probably see the best... Yeah.
I wonder what this is going to look like for arena timers, you know? Are they gonna
7.5 minutes?
Yeah. Just open it up a bit. I mean, I wouldn't mind.
Too much health and not enough damage.
I'm currently done before I get below 4 minutes. So
definitely.
The timer is almost pointless at the current stage. But I think 5 minutes. We don't even know what it feels like to be down there unless I'm killing time to hold first.
That is the sole purpose of it.
Yeah,
Right
so
now.
maybe 5 minutes will be fine. And if they were to extend the time, which is obviously a complete shot in the dark, it would make the strategy of Arena really even more frustrating and kind of silly.
Yeah.
So they definitely can't do that. But it will be it is a question if you build a pure tank team. If you can actually ever finish anything, if you come up against another tank and it's just war of attrition and the time runs out.
Wet noodle fight kind of thing.
Everyone just limp-wristedly slapping everyone around.
I was thinking about some characters that are pretty good in the meta right now and do have a place that are going to get a lot better. And one guy that we were talking about beforehand is Phasma, because they're actually changing how advantage works too, right? Yeah. So the advantage ability is changing, and it will now guarantee a critical hit for a single action. Or what? Yes. Yeah. Or a single action, yes. So Phasma, obviously if you were playing, maybe 3 months ago, I guess it would be, Phasma was amazing, right? When she first came out, she was really gnarly. Yeah, everyone had Phasma leads. Everyone was getting the double attacks. They nerfed her a little bit. They tweaked it where you couldn't get it for...
Assists. Bonus attacks couldn't trigger a bonus attack.
Yeah. But now it seems like Phasma's going to be amazing. Because her ability... So, Joe, her ability...
Yeah, so I forget the name of the ability. Victory March. You know, the oos. This means that everyone on the whole team gets advantage. So there you've just got 5 crits, providing you have 5 people standing. And then her own ability is that her basic attack is 65% more effective when she has advantage. So all of a sudden you've got this situation where Phasma has this... It's quite a combo to pull off, but if you can pull the combo off, the Victory March followed by basic attack, and that's not hard because she's pretty tanky.
They might have to just hit real hard.
Everyone be better. That's going to leave her attack. I mean, I can't do the maths in my head, especially not at level 80, which doesn't exist yet. But she's going to buff herself, guarantee a crit, and then 65% on top of her regular attack.
And it's 40% turn meter.
And it's 40% turn meter.
Turn meter, I think, will also be quite important in a meta like this.
When a game goes longer.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever a game goes longer, the more turn meter that you can get, the better, right? That seems like an obvious thing to say, but it's true. Yeah. And so she's going to buff everyone. Her primary attack... Who knows
how heavy that one attack she does is going to be. It could just be devastating. It could be the one shot they're also trying to avoid.
Yeah.
But by the time you pull it off, you're later in the game, so those... Fortitude shields might be down.
Yeah.
You know, depending on how long those things last. They can't last that long.
Can't wait to find out what they're actually going to do.
I know.
It's funny hearing this. Yeah. I'm thinking as soon as this comes out, she might have to get hard nerfed. Because
if anything that needs to balance her would be her HP. Because the problem is, you've got to make it hard to pull off that combo. Yeah. And right now she's super tanky.
Yeah, that's true.
So, the easy way to deal with that is make her HP lower so that you have to use taunts or heals to get yourself to the point, but at the same time, they're telling you that they're slowing the game down. So, I think Phasma could be one to watch out for.
Dane, what do you think about Yoda? Because Yoda has a place in the meta right now, especially because he can just go so fast.
Yeah, he's fast, right?
But do you think he's going to get better because of this?
Yes and no. I think he could fit into a lot more teams because, his stats, besides his speed, pretty mid-rangey, so he can kind of get boosted with his attack and stuff like that. But at the same time, he's one of the faster guys in the game, like it's been pointed out to us. So will he really get buffed, or will his attack even be nerfed? Which his attack isn't even that great in the first place.
He's one of these mid-range guys that you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. His kit is just yelling out kind of mid-range combo-y kind of vibe, right?
What I'm saying is they were saying that anyone who's faster, their attack's going to be a little bit lower.
That's true.
He's apparently the fastest guy.
Well, with Qui-Gon at the helm, he beats Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon makes him overtake him.
However, his ability, his special, could be a real factor in the end. Because you're going to have guys that's just going to last out, and you're not going to have those speed teams that just take you out right away.
Yeah.
So he might really have.
And Yoda's buff stealing when the games can go on long enough for him to use it. Yoda's definitely not a lady.
Yeah.
He'll have more chance to use it in this meta that they're proposing to us. So.
Yeah. If he's not going to get taken out, he's not going to be one shot.
Yoda's definitely getting a buff.
Yeah, it could be good. Yeah. Although I wonder, again though, Because if they're gonna make slower characters do more damage, right?
Mhm.
So you're gonna have like guys that are kind of souping up, and then all of a sudden they do boom, right?
Yeah, I feel
So-
like you said though, it's got to be more of a mid-range curve because you
Yeah.
can't give like you
No,
can't
you
be like
can't
all of a sudden
totally
like
reverse
Poe
it.
also hits
Yeah.
like a truck,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
Royal Guard hits like a truck, and old Ben is the biggest hitter in the game or something because he's also very slow. Like that would be. So I think it's like I say, it's going to be those mid-range guys. I'm really excited for things like I think you're right to say that you're going to get your droids up.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
droids with HK-47 at the helm, HK-47, another one of those mid-range guys who currently isn't used just because he doesn't kind of put up enough damage.
Yeah.
And he basically
But-
attacks after everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
So,
But his turn meter gain on crits is going to be huge.
It's
now.
huge, yeah.
Yeah. When,
So I think droids will remain really feasible team.
Yeah.
But you might be
Which-
getting rid of
which we are all very excited
Yeah.
about, right?
I
Yeah.
love droids.
Yeah.
that's,
Um, So, but I mean, you might have to drop it. It's sad to say, but it might be Genosian who has to go.
Yeah.
And then
Could
you
be.
maybe put HK-47 Poggle as a sub. We're getting deep into that team because we know it real well. But
Yeah.
I think that whole build will go forward quite well.
I think too with Poggle, he's another strong example of a character that's already pretty good, and he's just not really getting put into other compositions because, say for example, if you're running like a really speed-oriented team, you're not really going to need his buff. By the time it's already done, it's done, right? Droids really benefit from his buff, but if you're now going with a bit less damage, there's a bit more time in the game, then he's a great mid-range character, right?
Mhm.
He's got
Yeah.
ability block, which could be really huge,
Yep.
and he's got this really good offense up buff that
Yep.
helps the whole team.
and he's not
Yeah.
crazy slow. He's not the fastest guy, so he's not going to get like that much of a debuff.
Yeah.
But he's not crazy slow, so it's not going to be like, oh no, I can't really use this.
And I wonder if Fortitude would be something like the Divine Shield kind of idea or like Foresight or something like that, where you have to kind of get it off. And so maybe you're using weaker attack characters to kind of clear.
AoEs are going to be important maybe for it.
Yeah,
as well,
there you go. Yeah, to
I think
clear
it's
it.
going to be kind of like those old RPGs where it's like a different color of the health bar.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see exactly that. For some
Yeah.
reason in my head it's gold. I don't know.
It's
gold.
gold.
Purple to me.
Fact confirmed. Gold Fortitude folks.
It's red. It's red for me.
Purple. I call
Is
purple.
it red? But it
It's
seems
definitely
negative.
red.
Maybe it's blue.
Mm, Who knows?
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's wraps up that part. I'm really excited that they're changing this. I'm excited too that they're not afraid to take this step and kind of nerf characters or tentatively nerf characters that people have put a lot of time into.
Yeah, and
for future benefits.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to talk about so many characters, but we just can't talk about them all. Like,
Yeah.
I think Fives is going to be great. I think
Savage
Kylo Ren,
Opress.
Savage Opress, Kylo Ren.
Anything that has like an execution now. If damage isn't too high, he's got his execution, right?
Mhm.
Then that's really huge.
I already
Yeah,
think
and
Fives is
25%
great.
of a
Fives
tank
is
is like
already good.
Fives is
Yeah.
really great. Daka is going to get better.
Old Ben's gonna be really good.
Ben's going to
He's
get better.
fireable
Yeah,
now.
it's like these
Oh,
characters you
Daka's
want to be
gonna be
using, but
cool.
like you just
Yeah.
go, but they'll die.
Yeah.
You'll now be able to use them, and that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Except for the fact I need to go and farm them, which is not great.
Yeah, so many things to do.
Yeah.
All right, so at the end of their little news discussion thing, they said future release. Much of the team's focus is on the next major update. Fair enough. We can't go into much detail yet, but we'll update when you can. We'll update you when we can. More
Smiley
info
face.
as this gets closer. Smiley face. Maybe a little coy smiley face, a little cheeky smiley face, right? So
You think no? Yeah.
I think this could be sheeps, yeah, ships, and definitely pointing towards that they're coming in. But I mean, it's very
The ship's by Jabba in the cantina, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Where are they? Yeah,
Is it Jabba? Is that actually Jabba? Or is that some other? I don't know.
I don't know. It's one of them.
It's Jabba.
He's pretty mobile. I mean,
It's true.
at the beginning of the game, he was like in the middle, like,
Yeah, he's
haha, you'll
quick.
never be as good as me, and then he
Yeah.
was all the way over the other side of the rim,
Yeah,
which is a
Yeah,
long way
but
for
fat
him.
people play video games all the time.
True.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
This guy right here.
Yeah.
All right.
This guy right here.
Okay, so want to continue kind of our trend of including a bit of theory crafting in each episode. And in this one, we kind of went away and we decided to theory craft or I don't even know if that's the right word for it. Wish upon a star.
That's the phrase.
Is that better? Should we just call it that?
We'll
call this
graphic.
Wish upon a star. Yeah. Okay, all right. Let's do that. Maybe Lindy can get it later. Lindy, this is the point in the video where you put it there.
The Make a Last Wish Foundation.
Okay, so we decided to kind of wish for an event that we would want in the game coming up recently. So there's been a lot of events, or no, there hasn't. There's been like 2.
Yeah.
The same one, but it seems like there's gonna be more.
On that fancy
data
Android one we got at the moment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Android, and then so there's been 2. Okay, so Joe, what would your event be?
So I'm kind of inspired by the current Droid event, actually. If you're an iOS user and you haven't seen it or anything like that, it currently is that you take on a team of 3 Jawas, and you have to take in at least 3 droids, and at the end of it, you get droid shards. And I mean, as we've mentioned, like our droid teams are all at 7 stars, so basically that's shard shot material. But I think it could be fun that just to celebrate the diversity of characters in the game and how many people there are that you don't see, that like every now and again they just say like, oh, like, I don't know, someone you've forgotten about, Ugnaught, just like shows up and you play against like a team of those guys, and it's not so much about the rewards that you get from it. Worst character in the game.
I just see Ugnaughts stacked on each other.
Yeah,
like
a little totem pole, like a Jenga pole. You have to pull them out and see if they topple. Yeah. But yeah, you fight a team of them, but I would like them to really crank up the difficulty so that it's not about the reward, but about the challenge. So you might get 5 Ugnaught shards when you complete it, whatever, because no one wants them anyway. But like it's more like that team is a real like pain in the ass to fight, and it's one of those ones like, oh, I managed to pull it off today. Like another game I love playing is Puzzle and Dragons, and the hardest things you can do in that game actually give you characters that kind of suck.
Yeah.
You're going to do the hardest thing in the entire game, and it gives you some character you're never going to use. And it's more just like, I beat it on the hardest difficulty, and it was super tough, but I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so would it be completely random every time, or are you just talking like the worst characters that you
No,
can think of?
I just came up with the first character that popped into my head who you don't see around.
No, sure, but I mean, would it change from time to time?
Yeah, exactly. And the strategy required to beat that level would be completely different based on the character, obviously, because every character has their own flavor and their own kind of thing. So that would be my addition. Okay,
so I always put myself last because I'm just trying to be polite. So I'm gonna go in the middle this time. I'm sitting in the middle, So one event that I was thinking of doing would be an event where you use a single character. This is kind of a little bit different, right? You don't always want to be using a team. And depending on the character you choose, you'll duel someone that makes sense in the Star Wars universe. So say, for example, if you chose Luke, of course, you'd fight Vader, or, if you chose Mace Windu, maybe you could do the Mace Windu Emperor Palpatine scene, or, Han and Greedo, or something like that.
That'd be a quick one.
Yeah.
One shot.
Yeah, and then... so the reward would obviously, this is Wish Upon a Star, so the reward is a little bit different, but the reward, it would be something where it wouldn't happen very often, and so whatever character you chose, you would get a unique, new display picture for that character. When the people are clicking on the characters and you see the little display things at the bottom?
Cosmetics,
Yeah, so you get a little cosmetic display thing, so I don't know, just something there, like a golden.
That's cool.
So cool.
A different color cloak for the Jawas, so you can actually tell them apart.
Yeah, that would be really cool, right? And so something of that sort. So when people are playing against you, they're like, "Oh, this guy really likes Ugnaught," or something,
Who's that guy?
Yeah,
is it you?
Danny.
That's cool.
What do you think?
I also kind of wanted like a in the realm of the Star Wars universe story mode type of thing. So I was thinking more of like a bounty hunter event, even though there isn't a category bounty hunter, but that doesn't matter because you could just group them all together, like Boba Fett or...
Oh, you can like shoehorn...
Yeah. IG-86, Greedo, whatever, and then you'd fight like a really beefed up, souped up Han Solo.
Oh,
Nice.
that's cool.
Yeah, so then your like reward for actually finishing this super difficult challenge would be like just a ton of money, because already in the game it's really hard to get money, so any more chances to get money would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it just makes sense. If you're a bounty hunter, that's what you're going for, right? So
Yeah.
kill Han, get money.
I wonder, I feel like with the challenges, I'm always kind of hoping that they would set up, kind of like in JRPG fights, where you get to a certain point of the boss's health where you only want to use certain attacks, or only certain attacks do certain damage, or something like that. I wish there was a bit
diversify
more.
the tactics.
Yeah.
Similar to what I was saying with my one, like make every character you play very different and play to their strengths. And I think they did that with the Yoda event. Like Yoda at 7 stars, I haven't done it myself, but is supposedly very, very difficult.
Yeah, that's true.
And you need like certain teams. Like you can't bring a guy in. It's just like no, that actually is the opposite of in your benefit.
Yeah. Or you bring guys in and their attacks actually heal the guy, but maybe it's worth it to bring them in just for their utility or something.
On
like
your
that.
team, they might buff you, but you can just never attack.
Yeah. And that's why maybe they do need a pass function, but maybe.
Yeah, passing would be nice, especially in Galactic War.
Yeah, in everything, really.
Yeah.
So, that brings us to the end of this episode. It's a bit of a shorter one, but today we're going to be filming a whole bunch of episodes of different things, so you'll see us in this format. Thanks a lot for watching. Like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. This is Greg, Danny, and Joe from Ritual Gaming.
See ya.